are so bad. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Star here on Star FM.
Good morning, my dear.
And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me too.
What is the problem that as caterers you are facing with implementing the school feeding program that you are unable to give the pupils that you serve good food?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your listeners. My dear, our problem is just one. The money involved is not good. Right now, nobody can even give his or her child 2 cedis to go and buy food. No. But the government is giving us 1 cedi, 20 pesos in addition with tax. And we are saying that they should just give us 2 cedis. They couldn't. Even 1 cedi, 50 pesos that they promised, they couldn't. And so what are they expecting from us? For the good food we cook, but it is just small. And I don't think it's enough for the children.
I mean, we're looking at the Auditor General's report, and it's indicating that in some other areas, of course, some of the areas that were cited were in the Western region. I know that you are in the Ashanti region, but it looks like this is a complaint that comes from the length and breadth of the country, that the food that is cooked is unwholesome. I mean, it's not being said that it is small. For example, you're saying if you're cooking jollof, it's jollof just like that, no protein, which is contrary to the guidelines, and all of that. So is all of that down to the money that is given to you? That is just not enough for you to cook the food that you are supposed to cook well.
That one I will never agree, because we are all mothers and the children are our children. We cook very good food, just that you won't get it beautiful like the normal jollof. You see, and so if they are saying that, because whatever we use to cook is an ingredient that we also eat some. We use tomatoes, we use pepper, we use onions, we use fish. Just that you don't get chicken or meat or anything. But whatever we have to put inside to get the real food or the balanced diet, we do. And so they shouldn't say that we don't cook good food. We cook just that, well, some. For instance, my cooking and your wife's cooking will be different. That doesn't mean that I don't know how to cook, or I don't cook well, or your wife doesn't know how to cook well. So they should stop saying that and give us the real money for us to cook good food for the children.
I mean, have there been instances where you've had to, for example, use foodstuffs that were not very wholesome to cook food because you couldn't, get the proper or wholesome foodstuffs to cook the food? I'm asking this because I'm citing an example that is in the Auditor General's report from the Western region. This is from the Western region. I know that you are in the Ashanti region, but this is just an example, because it says that a cook from Kamfakrom DA school in the Western region used, for example, corn dough that had gone moldy to prepare banku for the pupils. So do you also face challenges like that, where some of your caterers in the Ashanti region use foodstuffs or produce that is bad to prepare food?
I will not doubt it, but I have never experienced that before, because I use good foodstuff to put for my children, and so I will never doubt it. But some, they may do it because they think they have to get things cheap for them to also cook and then get it all right for the children. That is bad, and that is why we are lamenting that the government should sit up and give realistic money for the women to cook. Who will give it into cities for his children to go and buy food? It can't be possible. And so these are all we are lamenting, and so they should hear us and do the needful.
I remember there was a time that school feeding caterers, went on strike because of some of these things. I think you were having 90 pesos before, and it was increased to 1 cedi 20 pesos. So I mean, the increment from 90 pesos to 1 cedi 20 pesos still is inadequate to even bring a slight improvement in the quality of the food.
Oh yes, of course. You see, they even promised that they are going to give 1 cedi 50 pesos, and we said because we are going to buy things in bulk, we can manage it, but they couldn't. Right now, they paid 1 cedi 50 pesos instead of 1 cedi 50 pesos. And even the number of days that you have cooked, when they are paying, they will reduce it, giving so many excuses. What are they expecting the women to do? What are they expecting the women to do?
All right. Help us understand exactly what the challenge is. From the beginning. Okay, you are school feeding caterers, and you are supposed to cook. What is the process? And juxtapose it to the money that is being given to you, and paint a vivid picture for us, as in the process that you go through.
Okay. When President Kufuor started, it was the district assemblies who paid monthly for the caterers. And so, because of that, the caterers always have enough staff to also cook for the children. But when the other governments came in, they centralized the whole thing. And so the payments became a problem. The contract is termly. But after the term, they will not pay. Second term, they will not pay. And third term, too. Unless you lament, then they will pay one. What is not good? And the money to so delayed payment. And when they are paying too, they will not pay full amount. They will deduct some. And when even you write to them that my money didn't come, they've given me part payment, they will never pay back. And so all these things, the women are suffering in that. And so they are not even truthful. The contract, they are not fulfilling it. A whole lot of issues, my dear.
So is it that some of the caterers also use their own money in getting some of the food stuff, expecting to get paid, and they don't get paid? Does that happen?
Of course, you pre-finance it. The caterers pre-finance it for
Right.
a term. But even that term, they will never pay until 9 to 10 months to 1 year before they pay the first one, which is not good.
What are the reasons they give you for not paying?
Initially, it was Netherlands who were funding it. And I don't know what happened. And the Netherlands stopped. And so we don't know those who are funding it. I think the government itself is trying to finance it, but it's difficult. So it's the time that it has to go look for them. So that started with the Netherlands government. That's what they should do exactly. I don't know why now country is even willing to sponsor that program.
So you went on strike some time back. Is it something that you are considering again? Because that was when it was 90 pesos, right? And
yes.
there were some arrears as well. So now that you are
yes,
faced with this problem, yes.
They are owing us a lot. And so we have to also fight back to get our money.
What is the backlog?
And
How many months are you owed? They are owing you a lot. How many months are you owed?
And they are owing 2 terms plus previous unpaid funds. Previous, like from 2018 to date. They are still owing some of the school feeding women, which a lot of letters has been sent, but they are just trying not to pay.
So what action do you want to take?
Just 2 weeks ago, we released a press statement, and then there hasn't been any serious engagement, but some are calling us individually. Some of the big guys are calling us individually. We are going to pay. So this week we are expecting them to pay. If they don't pay, they will hear us.
And what would they hear if they don't pay?
Oh, we'll call for a press conference, and then either we will go for strike.
So
indefinite strike, of course.
So what would be an ideal figure for the school feeding program to have wholesome food, proper food given to the pupils? What would be an ideal figure? Now it's 1 cedi, 20 pesos, and you say they give you 1 cedi, 16 pesos. What would be the ideal figure?
Oh, we are not even demanding much. The ideal figure should be just 2 cedis, just 2 cedis. And we can manage it very well.
Two cedis will be enough to provide proper food for the school feeding program.
We, the women, we can use just 2 cedis. Provide good food for the children. Just 2 cedis, just 2 cedis. Just 2 cedis. Myself, I'm a farmer. And so I can even supply some of the maize for the school feeding caterers at a lesser cost. We are willing to help. But they don't want to help us to also help.
All right. So, okay, we'll hear from you. You said you're waiting to see if you'll be paid by the end of the week. Otherwise, we'll hear from you, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, very well. Madam Ofori Sapong, I'm grateful that you've spoken to us here on the Morning Star.
I'm also grateful.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
You just heard us speak to Dorothy Ofori Sapong. She's spokesperson for the School Feeding Caterers Association in the Ashanti region, and she is lamenting the amount of money that is given to them, citing it as one of the reasons why some of the school feeding caterers are unable to provide good food. Good food, as was found out by the Auditor General's report for the pupils that they are supposed to feed, citing non-payment of funds that they have used to pre-finance the school feeding program, among other things. We cited some examples from the Western region in the Auditor General's report, and we'll try and get to the Western Region Association, right? The caterers in the Western region. We'll try and get to them and also ask them a few questions about some of the things that have been found out in the Auditor General's report. Because we definitely need to get to the bottom of this. We don't need to allow this to go on. And I'm even asking, really, what will it take? What will it take, to bump up the figure to 2 cities like the caterers are asking for? Do we not care about providing proper food to the children? But I'm also looking at some of the caterers who are doing the food. If you know that the foodstuffs that you are going to use to cook the food is bad, and you still go ahead and do it and feed it to the people who are going to eat it, you will not give that to your child at home. A lot of them are mothers, like you heard Dorothy Ofori Sapong say. A lot of them are mothers. You will not give that food to your child at home. You will not use moldy corn dough to prepare banku for your child at home. But because it's a school feeding program and your children are not in that school, and you are angry at the government because the government has not paid you your money, you watch on and use moldy dough to prepare banku for children. That is wickedness. That is wickedness. Yes, that is what it is. We know there is a problem, but where is your conscience? We know there is a problem, but where is that motherly love? Yes, there is a problem. It is not enough. The money that is given to you is not enough. Maybe you are struggling, maybe you are old and all of that. Then it is better for you not to cook. It is better for you to go on strike like you did before than to use the fact that you don't think you are given enough money to do the school feeding program, or that your arrears have not been paid, than to use that as an excuse to feed bad food, poisonous food to pupils. It's not an excuse. And all those people who have been found out doing that should bow their heads in shame. And I even think that some sanctions should apply. Yes, we know that there is a problem with the payments. The government is always owing arrears. The government always doesn't want to do the right. We know. And we'll come to the government side. But for the women who are there, who are cooking the food, where is your conscience? Where is your conscience? Because you are poisoning the pupils. Because if he uses corn dough that is bad to cook the banku and the pupils go and eat it, just imagine the stomach upsets. Already some of them are hungry and are coming to school because they know when they come to school, they'll get food to eat. And then they come to school and then they come and eat bad banku. And then after they finished eating it, they are facing all kinds of stomach upsets and problems. And then the school feeding caterer who cooked the food will say, oh, it's not me. They've not paid me and I had no choice and I had to use this one to do it. Like, why do we sometimes do this to ourselves in this country? Why do we do that? It's bad. And I personally think that some sanctions should apply. That is why I was earlier asking about the monitoring and evaluation team at the Gender Ministry, which is the mother ministry which sees to the implementation of the school feeding program. Are there any monitoring and evaluation teams going around ensuring that even if the money is not coming, at least even if you if you are not going to cook the food, then don't cook it at all. But are you ensuring that the food stuff that are being used are wholesome? Let's get back to the phone line.
This time we'll speak to Peter Nochu Kotoi. He is ranking member on the Committee on Education. Ranking member on the Committee on Education. Honorable, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Morning Star.
Star FM?
Star FM is great, and we are happy to have you this morning.
Very well.
So we've just been speaking to the one in charge of the caterers in the Ashanti region when it comes to school feeding program, and we've also been looking at the Auditor General's report, which has been talking about just how bad some of the food that is given to the pupils are as far as the school feeding program is concerned. I mean, the education committee, is this something? Are these things that have come before you, that have come to your notice?
Yeah, thank you very much. We are yet receive a copy of the auditor's report, but what I can say that it is a vindication of the position I took last year. If you remember, I came out with a publication that students in our senior high schools were being fed with maggot-infested rice that was about to expire. And that was detrimental to the health of our children. Because you can keep rice for 2 years, when it's about a month or so for it to be thrown out, then you distribute it to schools that they use it to feed our children. That was very bad. The Minister of Education rubbish that it was not true. But I'm happy that today the auditor's report has shown it clearly that it is not even only at the senior high school, but it's also at the basic level. You see, we are in a country where people don't want to accept the truth and then work on it. They will deny that it is never true. But I don't know how they're going to deny the auditor's report. The issue is that the caterers cook whatever they get, knowing very well that it will take a very long time for them to be paid. Caterers who cooked for second term are money. The third term is about to end. In 2 weeks' time, there is full payment to them. So whatever they lay their hands on is what they cook for the children. If you fit in the schools where the catering or the feeding program is taking place, you wait for the children. They are not being given anything nutritious. So if they call it one hot meal a day, I don't know how hot it is. So the situation is very bad, and I am sure that the ministry this time will accept their fault and not the Committee on Education telling them that this is the information we have verified and it is true, and they will deny it. I don't think they will deny the auditor's report this time.
So moving forward on the part of the Education Committee in Parliament, in the aftermath of this, you've sort of been vindicated with the reports that you were making. What is the way forward? What will you do, or what can you do to make sure that this is rectified and doesn't continue to go on?
In actual fact, this matter is not for the Committee on Education.
Right.
It is for gender and social protection.
Yes. I mean, but since this is being done in schools, we know that the Education Committee has an interest in it.
That is why we are concerned. So any referral on the auditor's report will not be coming to the Education Committee because it is under the Gender Ministry. So, but we as a committee member, because it's our children who are the beneficiaries of this meal, so we always talk about those who are responsible, those who do the right thing, do so. continue to talk so that there is a reform, so that the gender ministry can wake up and then do the right thing. You see, the first thing I do is pay them regularly and then make sure that you supervise them. There's no supervision. There is information that there are schools where they don't cook, but at the end of the term, they are paid. You see, so if you pretend to be paying somebody, the person also pretends to be working for you. That is the matter before us now. So the Minister of Gender and Social Protection must live up to expectations. If they cannot do it, well, then they should leave it for the Minister of Education to take over. And then we can supervise the program effectively. Because I see the Minister of Gender and Social Protection failing in that direction.
Now, the caterers are asking for 2 cedis. Is it something reasonable from where you sit?
For me, last year's budget, I was even advocating for 3 cedis. So for 2 cedis, for me, even on the lower side. And one, expensive, maize, everything has gone up. So for me, even 2 cedis for a good meal per child is not enough. How much do we give to our children to go to school? These days, those in the private school. Feeding is 10 cedis a day. So why are we pretending to be feeding the children? So for me, I advocated for 3 cedis. And they are saying 2 cedis. If they're saying the 2 cedis is enough, we can advocate for them so that it is increased for them, so that they can also meet their expenses and then give a better food to the children. So I'll continue to advocate for them.
Very well, Honorable Norchu Koto. We're grateful that you've spoken to us here on the show.
Thank you very much.
The Honorable Peter Norchu Koto is a ranking member on the Education Committee in Parliament, and he believes that even 3 cedis is what should be given, And I talk about wickedness, and somebody doesn't understand the reason why I'm saying that it is wickedness. It is wickedness. It is wickedness if you know that something is bad and you purposely give that thing that is bad to someone to eat to cause the person problems, and then you come and blame it on the fact that you are also facing a challenge. It is wickedness. We can also talk about the wickedness of the government, because how can you be implementing a social intervention policy and what you need to make sure that the social intervention policy that you have implemented is implemented well, especially when that social intervention policy has got to do with nutrition and health, because nutrition and health go hand in hand. So you are providing one hot meal for pupils or for students in schools. Will you not give enough money, something that is adequate, to provide proper food for the people? So those who are in charge of implementing the policy, can you confidently say that in your heart of hearts, and I'm talking to the people who are in charge of government policy with regard to the school feeding program, can you confidently say in your heart of hearts that 1 cedi 20 pesos is enough to give to caterers to provide proper food for pupils? I'm asking this question to the government. Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Gender Minister, you are the one who is in charge of policy. Can you confidently say that 1 cedi 20 pesos is good enough to implement such a policy?
Hello.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Yes, hello, madam. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Star. Pacho, what is saying? Nyame adom so me hu ye pa Pacho se me ni madam Abena Kwala na eka say. Western Regional Coordinator School Feeding Program. Yeah, that's it, Bebre. Or Star 103.5 FM. So, o sign so Empire 102.7 FM. So, what takrade? Yeah, that's it, Bebre. Say on here, Kasa no pay.
Me also with that, young Casta.
Now no pay school feeding in Sensemia na abeto dwane ye pese ye bisa o ehun sem kakra. Because so far Auditor General report na aba na omo ye monitoring and evaluation. Omo say we call Western Region na mia bi wo ho schools bi wo ho a ase eduane ne de man kwala no enhye da nye. Patro de asem na woka fa ho.
Me dase ne ba. Em se de dika no metia wetie fo nyina na tia interest our Western region. Any schools our Western region are beneficial to school feeding. Then it starts. Em say me who report no. It was the last time me say I report to me the omuka say omu general review, but once we about Western region me na me da no I see edusua wa ne de eja wonti e wo me kasa. Na ye what one say the usha Western region when you come to Western region na ubi say obi a abina kwa ala on me kasa ni obi a me monitoring me say me agro every year no be all the health in the schools na caterers na so di say wo ma me mo training na me nia ebia na ni e be kan say sebio edomo dodo ade ya na ne ye no ba ko mienu be fremu a ebia na ko yie senia report no e ka me mo me nya bi nkan but nya me kan say wo ba ha schools bi wo ho a in fact omo wakasa po caterers na ba so na me ka ko si say nipa ho adwuma ana say nipa dom ho adwuma de ubenya ba ko mienu wo mu a ebia na ankoyie na mo ankoyie no ya na me fa ne say eduane mi na enye ana say bia no quantity no na town go say eduane ne de omuye o ma afemu de eye
yo Madam Ablakwala Mpacho eduane no won wo hwe Auditor General's reports na for example o say okọ achin omuka ne say impo Achinyerin DA Basic School. I hope I've been able to pronounce it well. Almost say what call her.
We deal with this.
Okay. Okay. All right. But this is in the Western region. Yeah, be mouse our details. No, but I just want to draw your attention to on some more can was saying. Mamin can we? Or say what call her for example. Almost say cooks no more hono. Omoye jollof man kwala na omofa protein bia nka ho. And that is contrary to the National Operations Manual. Almost I say oko Kamfa Krom DA school our Western region wha Ketra no wo hono or the condo Molly a enye asay ene ye banku e de man kwala no so omofa omundi we nyina Auditor General na eka nti o monitoring na wo ye no e na wom
okay because I na America say a good idea baby a wo rice here me nya yi ba dia metumi aka ne say a school feeding ankasa ye wo ye manual ye wo ye menu a ye de ye aduane man kwala no and ye what the way you see ye no so far no me monitor ma ye wo Western no me hu bi sa ate du baby a wudu a na nia health ne beka cha wa ne say quantity no e ye ketwa esha but quality ne de say at least it was okay. But let me come to Kamfakum. I remember, sir, me call visit over and was a Yuma woman monitor one PT schools be near. Fast school, yeah, okay. Me call Homa. Nesumi who say, Ketrano, no 1 or 2 near my dear, and me a man day, encore. So quickly, I wrote to the caterer and said, "You should come and see me in the office." And now, me head, no, so a head teacher of the school, no, so. In fact, I need the next name always say, "Yeah, the abua." Said your school feeding and to me and say school, no. That is the reason why the education so you have the main key stakeholders. It is almost a be a caterer, ye be named be any your roots now, any your menu now, you want no empire. You could eat and I don't later no, another day, that's what I know. I so, oh, yes, yet. In the American cosinas, when it comes to my region, that was the community. To me, who's in grab or mobile witness for that, and Miss work every. But I certainly that I can say, yes, any now into a most your muffin, your medication, so ye, tell us so ye, yes, take with the beer, Yankee, yeah, me.
Hello, Madam Abna. Pacho betum na gina ye kakra mai. Ase line no etwitwa.
School fees so ya dey akoma.
Madam Kwala Pacho o line mu nya nti ka betum gina ana o movie ana ka betum gina ye kakra mai amaya ase asem na o ka no line mu etwitwa nti yen shedante de o ka ye. Hello? Hello, Madam Kwala. Hello? Okay. I say okay, Kakra.
Okay. That is how we say. They say, Abia, 1 or 2 days.
Oh, I say still line. Patromian sign fell.
Producers will call her back. That's Abna Kwala. She's a Western Regional Coordinator for the school feeding program. And she had wanted to speak in Tree. That's why you heard the interview being done in Tree. That's the preferred language that she wanted the interview to be conducted in. But of course, I would be able to explain what she has been saying about the challenges that they are facing in the Western region. Of course, the Auditor General's report cited a particular school, and she was just explaining that she's done monitoring in that particular school, and she found out that the caterer in that school is problematic, and so they had a meeting on it, and she was just trying to expatiate on that before the line started going south. And so we're trying to work on the line to reach her again and conclude on this particular conversation here on the Morning Star on 103.5 Star FM. In the meantime, we'll also be having another conversation. Let me tell you that we'll also be having another conversation here on the show, and we're going to be talking about misinformation. And there is a summit that is coming up which effectively deals with misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation in the system, and especially as we're approaching the 2024 elections, it's going to become even more rife. And so it's very important that as citizens and consumers of all kinds of media and content, we guard against misinformation, because the politicians will always use misinformation to muddy the waters and try and hoodwink you to vote for them. So we need to beware, and we need to be wary of misinformation. And of course, if there is misinformation, it means you are not informed properly. And if you are not informed properly, it means the information that you have, if you need to make a decision with it, you make the wrong decision. So misinformation is something that we should not countenance at all. And so I will have a conversation with it. About it, the Misinformation Summit, which is coming up. The project coordinator, Adib Sani, is in the studio. And Patrice Amegashi is also the project coordinator. He's also here in the studio, and we'll be getting into a conversation about it. In the meantime, my producers are working the line to try and get Madam Kwala back on the line so that we can finish this conversation, because this is a very important conversation, because that school feeding caterer, I've described her as wicked, for you to use bad condo to prepare moldy bad condo to prepare banku for students to eat. That is just wickedness. And I was also telling you that I think that it is wickedness on the part of government and the policy formulators if they think that 1 cedi 20 pesos is enough to make wholesome food, which is supposed to be a social intervention for pupils to eat. It is wickedness on the part of the government. Is wicked if they think that 1 cedi 20 pesos is enough. Let's get back to the line. Hello, Madam Kuala.
So sorry. Yeah.
Patronal line breaking.
Namono. Na na me ka ko sise.
Now say
yes sir. Yes sir. All the bad in ra almost so many to me no almost so around. Na education also call round, na school feeding to call rounds. And fi nyina ye hu ade yeah set ne ye sa school feeding ne that thing na ye nyina ye hwehwe. And once o ma bo one no ye actually me so me common tra the ye no me share secretary in better ye say na as we see my fire the promises that Western region who's me
hello.
Oh,
your phone line see high Adriano paper. I said baby I nam no. I said baby I nam no line mu nhyɛ dan yɛ clear. You know sha say din komo na line mu yɛ clear ba asɛ sisi a. Asɛ sisi a na twitwa se minim sɛ ɔte kan mu kɔ baabi a.
Ya de me call office mama gina me mo kasa.
Okay. Asɛ sisi emu san yɛ kakra.
Okay, so me ka ko fi say yes sir. E bi almost akọ round so mo ehu ba ko mienu mi enko yie. What?
Okay. Madam Kuala, wait, it's quite unfortunate. Lions no, and shedan nimwaya no pay, but yeah, that's it, baby. You know, sign bedi, you know, sign bedin komo. 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 You be seeing Afro back. Okay. Abna Kuala, they were still trying to speak to her, but unfortunately, as you can hear there, the lines are not too clear this morning for us to continue with that conversation. But subsequently, of course, you're on Star 103.5 FM, and we'll have a conversation on that. But what I'll say finally on this is that the policy formulators and implementers must sit up and stop the wickedness. The caterers are not asking for much. The caterers are asking for only 2 cedis. Only 2 cedis. 2 cedis is not something we should be beyond government to pay to caterers a day for school feeding program. It is better for there to be no school feeding program at all so that parents will cater for their kids at home and give them food to eat than to pretend to be providing food. I say pretend because the food that is being provided is nothing to write home about. Than to pretend to be providing wholesome food for students or pupils, which is nothing to write home about. It is better to provide no food at all. If it must be done, it must be done well. Let us not do it haphazardly and stop this attitude of implementing policies anyhow in this country. Nice policy. The implementation becomes a problem. We cannot continue to allow that to happen in Ghana. That is why Ghana doesn't progress. Anyway, let's get to our conversation. I was talking about the Misinformation Summit, and I mentioned that Adib Sani is here. Patrice